Welcome back to another video. This is a pretty sweet lineup we got going on right here. Got the motorcycle on the left, Subie on the right. So a couple things on the Subie. Took this little shark fin thing off the back because it's actually right over here. I'm gonna put my keys down. So I had to take it off the back because you can kind of see that it's like peeling right there. It's also kind of got some peeling on the back. It's really badly peeling down here. You can kind of see. So I haven't had to repaint that since I got it, but whatever they paint it with usually doesn't work. Like I remember the old hood scoop. It wasn't painted very well and that was peeling, so we had to repaint it. I think it's over there somewhere. This one's been holding up pretty well. I don't think it's actually painted. I think it's just RFP or FRP, whatever it's called. So, newest addition to the Subie would be this radio. And I'm gonna come in from the passenger side just because it should hopefully do the same thing. So, change this, it's got a Subaru logo on the boot up. This is actually an Apple CarPlay one. Let me go grab my phone real quick. So I've been seeing a lot of things about Apple CarPlay on like the new cars and stuff. I think it's actually been out for, I'm gonna make sure a song doesn't just start blaring. I think it's actually been out for a couple years now, Apple CarPlay. But this unit that I have, I can have the link in the description. I don't know exactly what it's called. I'm guessing it's by this company, A22. But it runs really well. It's not laggy like you see a lot of different Apple CarPlay radios act. Has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You can set up Sirius XM if you want that. Just the regular radio. You can link it with your phone just through the USB. It's got a micro SD slot. Just regular Bluetooth audio, or you can also plug in USB. Front camera, rear camera. I think you can play certain movies through it and stuff like that, and then of course your EQ settings, phone calls, and the settings for the actual device. And that's how I got it to do like the Subaru logo on the boot up. But yeah, I actually have the rear camera installed too, so let's see if that powers up. You can see the garage door. But yeah, so you got your average apps, you know, everything that it recognizes because it works just like Apple CarPlay does. So whatever. On your phone that would normally show up on Apple CarPlay, which I'm not entirely sure how to adjust just yet, but that'll show up on here. I usually keep it on this screen though, so you can pull up your maps if you need to pull up your maps, or if you want to click on this and let's say you want to change your song. It's really cool. You can like go into Spotify. It's like just like your normal Apple CarPlay thing, and you can kind of see it's like it's not laggy like you see other Apple CarPlay stuff. Like it actually works very well, so I'm very happy about that. So that's been working very good. Also got a mic in it too, and I tested out the mic, and the mic over the phone actually sounds really good. I tested it out with my sister and she said that it sounds pretty good over that. And then for the rear camera, it actually has to plug into this. Let me actually pull this out quick. The way that I've always pulled this out is I pull from here and it gets this bottom part, and then I open up the cup holder so you can pull this edge out. Then you kind of have to put one hand here and one hand here, so you might not be able to see, but then that just clicks right out. And I can push that back in. So with this kit, it's the one that I installed in my car is a 2002 Subaru WRX. So I had to do a little bit of modifying, as you can see, because the brackets on the sides were a little bit too long to fit inside of here. As you can see, there's kind of a screw that sticks out right there. So I kind of had to trim the bracket on both sides to fit in there, but the screw still holds it in, and I just pushed it up the whole way. But you just have to get a aftermarket adapter, which you can get at like Walmart and stuff like that. Plug that into what comes from the Subaru, the one that comes out of the car from the Subaru, and then you take the one that comes with this radio, and pretty much all the wires should match up, you know, green to green, black to black, red to red. If it's got a stripe in it and it's a certain color, it goes to that color with the stripe in it. You just gotta twist them together, put the electrical tape around it, and you're good to go. Just slides right in. You can pop your cover back on. But yeah, since this is a universal one, I did have to trim these just so it would fit in there. But as you can see, when you pop this cover on, it actually fits in there very snugly. You can still push the buttons down here. It actually kind of just barely fits. This is the 7-inch one, so I can't imagine if you went any bigger. But yeah, for the rear camera, it just plugs in right in the back like everything else. You just have to run the wire. So I ran the wire down the side of this, because if you tuck it in here, you can kind of see with the lights, I did the same thing. You can't really see it coming out. It goes back into the back seat. Let me turn the flashlight on. Ran it underneath there. You can kind of see it right there. And then I ran it inside of that seat, and it goes, you can kind of see it right there. In the bottom, it's right there. And then I ran it through here to be able to get it to the back. Just took it, you can see it sticking out right there. Ran it underneath the carpet. The same hole that connects to your lights back here for your license plate, right behind there is some foam. You can kind of see the wire right there. But if you take your license plate off, you can just drill a hole right through here, and that's where your light goes to light up your license plate. And that's where I set up the rear camera. So it just goes right through there. Here's the cables, you can see it down there. You just gotta pop this cover off, and all you have to do is take this screw off and this one over here, and then there's just tabs up here and you can just pull it out. So we just drilled straight through, and that was what made it able to feed the wires through for that. So let me go put it in reverse just to show you. So yeah, it has sensors that you have to set up whenever you do it. Everything's in the instructions for it, so it makes it super easy to set everything up for it. Their instructions are probably better than anything I'd be able to show. So you take it, put it in reverse, and boom, your thing comes on just like that, and it has the lines and stuff. You can actually go in and like move each one of these corners around, depending on how you set the camera up, so that way it has like distances that you know. That's something I still have to do, but yeah, then you go right back into neutral. You're good to go. It turns right off. You can go back to your screen, do your music, whatever you want to do, and you're all set. So yeah, I really liked this radio a lot, this head unit. It's been really good to me. Did a deep clean of the interior. Look at that mat. Got all the dust off the top of there. It's looking real nice in here. Not really much else besides that, but there are some things in the works. I did put this back on just because I'm not going to be getting the car painted for a little bit, just because it was really expensive, and I feel like something that I might be able to produce could be more cost effective, or I could at least have like another year to save up a little bit more to get it painted, or at least save money on it, because they were charging me for like, so what I got quoted was the rear bumper, the trunk, the hood, and the front bumper, because of spots like that over there. And there's just a lot of like rock chips up here and stuff. That's what I got quoted. So for the front bumper, hood, trunk, and the rear bumper, it was $4,500, because they had to replace the front bumper because there was so much wrong with it, and they had to replace the rear bumper because this is actually cracked and damaged. And since there's holes in here, they didn't want to patch them or anything, like underneath the wing where it gets bolted in. They didn't want to patch them, so they were going to order a whole new trunk. But I could get these parts cheaper than what they can get from Subaru. So if I was going to get it painted, eventually in the future, I would just order all these parts and throw them on myself. So that way they, one, don't have to take all this apart. And like my fins down here, if I just take everything off, that also will save me some money. And if I just replace the parts with new ones from Subaru, since they would have to replace them anyway, I could get them cheaper, and they won't have to do any prep or anything like that, hopefully. So that'll be my way that I can hopefully save some money in the future by getting that done, because I do still want to get that done. Obviously it doesn't look the best with like the paint wearing off and stuff like that, but it's just very expensive, and honestly the car doesn't look too terrible besides those parts, which are very important. But I feel like What would have a bigger presence would be suspension or wheels, which is kind of what I'm thinking right now, and it won't be as expensive. So it honestly depends on what I can come up with for those, but right now the plan is to either do air suspension or to get a whole new wheel and tire setup. I'm honestly pretty torn. It depends on what I can scrape together and what makes the most sense right now, because air suspension would be sweet. I can't even imagine having a car that has air suspension on it, and I feel like it would make just rideability so much better, and it would also just like get rid of that fender gap, so it would just do so much, and wheels and tires would also just look great. So I'm still debating on what I should do with that, and I feel like next year, whenever I'm hopefully making a little bit more, is whenever I would be able to repaint the car and make it look a lot nicer on the front and the rear, because the sides really aren't that bad. There's not really any paint chips or anything on the side of the car. It really is just the front and the back. But it would just look so much better with suspension or tires, and then eventually that paint job. And honestly, I feel like the car would be pretty much complete at that point. It's already run on the stage 2, so the goals are going to be wheels and tires or suspension, and then eventually do the paint. I actually did just order on Amazon. It's supposed to be 02C, which is this paint code. It's supposed to be an exact match, because I wanted to test it out on this to see how close it was, because I feel like if this was blue, it might just make the whole front end come together a little bit better, because the black kind of stands out there. I would prefer it to be blue because it would go with like the body of the car. So I did order some paint that's supposed to be 02C for 2002 WRX, and hopefully it matches this close enough that it kind of pulls the front end together, because I don't know, black for the hood scoop just really hasn't been looking the best for me. I definitely feel like it would look more together. So yeah, I got some 02C paint. It's supposed to match this, so hopefully whenever I primer it, paint it, and clear it, it looks close enough to this that you can't really tell that it was painted. But that's everything right now for the Subaru in my update video. So thank you guys for checking it out, and we'll see you in the next one.